Hails and welcome to Rauta. It's underground trio, which means, once again, three different bands from the underground, the lesser known acts and all that. And as with the previous episodes, here with number 70, we'll go from worst to best, according to my own opinion. Feel free to disagree. Like I said, it's part of the charm. But because these are all different styles, it's kind of hard to compare them to one another, so take it with a grain of salt and all. We have something called epic pagan doom slash black metal. Well, along those lines anyway, from Ireland. We have a Swedish black metal one, and then we have a Puerto Rican solo project, which is also black metal. Now, even though these are all more or less flirting with black metal or crossing the boundaries of black metal, these are all very different. So, let's get it going. First, we'll head to Puerto Rico. Now, this band called Godless is actually a really old one. Started as early as 1989. Might come to you as a surprise. Surely got me by the balls as a surprise element, that is. That this band has been here for a long time. Now, mind you, this is not technically speaking a band, more than a solo project these days, which means only one person doing pretty much everything except probably for the cover image. And this is, I think, their fourth album so far, should my memory serve me well, and this is from 2021. So figure it out. That's why these are in the this underground trio, because all are a little bit older. This one is Lustcifer. Kind of a weird wordplay. Not exactly like, yeah, I mean, I get it. You were talking about Lust, you're talking about Lucifer, but Lustcifer doesn't really work that well. Unfortunately, the same thing here is with music. This is more than 65 minutes of music, and now already you're getting your red flags like, okay, that's not probably gonna work out throughout the whole thing, and unfortunately not. Mind you, this band used to have a lot of members in the past, but maybe there is something wrong, not just with the main member, but the music, because it seems like everybody else left the building a long time ago, except this one guy who just keeps going. Don't get me wrong, nothing against as solo project as such, but there is a reason why so many solo projects tend to suck a bit. And the main reason is when you have just one person to take care of everything. First of all, it's gonna suck at some instruments. Nobody is grand, great, whatever, with all the instruments. The second thing is, then there's nobody really to stop you doing crazy shit, stupid things. That is, including way too much material, way too mediocrity, or even bad ideas on the album. And unfortunately, this seems to be the case with that. Now, this ain't bad as such, but I would say this is less than mediocrity for a couple of reasons. First of all, there are too many filler riffs throughout the whole album, which makes this a drag. The second thing is, well, there are too many filler parts to begin with. So it doesn't really matter whether this album would be, say, 30 minutes or 65 minutes. When you have those filler parts, it just gets worse by the length. But nonetheless, the same problem, the very same problem to begin with is right there. When it comes to production, this is very much like in the middle of the road. Not really bad, not really lo-fi or anything like that, but not really good. It sounds like it's a homemade recording, for better or worse. And that is very much the case with drums, which is like, did you record them by a drum machine yourself? Probably so. They don't annoy you, but not really something like, hey, real drummer would like, wow. When it comes to the actual songwriting, well, there is this problem. Like I said, there is just too much of this and that. Sometimes it's getting more into experimental side of things. Like some riffs are more like, I'm just going to improvise it really here. I'm not really thinking about it. Let's record it and see how it falls. And then you just put everything on an album. For a lot of people, that won't work. There are probably a lot of people with acquired taste. Like, I like improvised music. I like when songs go to directions I wouldn't, expect them to be. But that also results that a lot of these songs are like filled with not exactly nonsense, but, well, improvisation. And because of the nature of that, this isn't really like a catchy, memorable album. It's not like so much like the riffs are bad, but they're like more like weird, or like, why this is here. This is not like sounding like even black metal at some points. Then you have variety of vocals. Sometimes they're more like cleaner ones. Sometimes it's more like going towards more raspy ones, but nothing is really extreme. I mean, it's not really extreme growling, it's not really extreme shrieking, screaming, raspy, whatever. I mean, whenever you expect this to go really to the extreme side of things, you will end up having lukewarm, kind of a family friendly black metal kind of a release. So I mean, nothing here is really extreme, except being boring. So that's the problem with this album. I mean, I started to like, I wish I was liking some of these things here. And I'm like, nah, not really. So it doesn't annoy me, but it happens the very same thing as with a lot of radio music. It goes to the background. As much as I try to fight it, like bring back some of those moments. And that was like 65 minutes of snooze fest, unfortunately. So mediocrity it is, and off we go. The next one comes from Sweden, and this is one of those Swedish black metal bands I never got to hear until now. Golgata is the name of the band, with an album called Tempel. If I remember correctly, the band has ever since, this is also 2021 release, I think, released another album, so this, I guess, got, forgotten in the middle of things, and as such, new album got out. Now the thing here is, this is one of those Swedish melodic black metal ones which doesn't really sound like Swedish. It lacks the attraction, it lacks the memorability, it lacks the killer melodies Swedes are so known for. And as a result, it's very demo-like recording in so many ways. I'm not talking about production as such when it comes to demo, but more like, the band when they're creating their own first releases and all that stuff. And that's the result. 2020 is actually the release year, not 2021. And I'm thinking to myself, this is one of those projects that probably didn't get success for the reasons I mentioned. Nothing really here resonates like it's out of ordinary. It's not bad by no means, but it's kind of like held back. Meaning this is very, very, avoiding the extremities once again. It's not really catchy. It's not actually, having the drive. It's not really overly melodic, like, yeah, this is the reason why people would find it. It's more like, in the middle of the road, and as such, quite basic. There are lots of these bands, I mean hundreds or even thousands of black metal bands, which are nothing like, they're not fierce, they're not aggressive, they're not raw, they're not sinister, they're not atmospheric. It's more like a little bit this, a little bit that. And then you're like, the reason why I started to love extreme metal because it was extreme. It was something like to be afraid of or something like that. And when you get bands that are nothing like extreme, it's all like rounded corners and all that stuff. You're like, yeah, but not really. So Golgata, unfortunately, results being very, very mediocre with this one. Better than the Godless one, but still more like, yeah, you need to do better riffs in my opinion. Then the last, and definitely not least, but also the weirdest of the pile is Corr Mhóna. I don't even try to pronounce it properly because I have no idea how to speak Gaelic language. This is from Ireland, you probably guessed it right already, and this is a curious combination of epic doom and some kind of a pagan black metal. Calling it black metal is a little bit like, can you really do that? This is from 2021, as you can see. Also, these are all Satanath releases, in case you're wondering. But when you're like flirting with some kind of a pagan black metal, yes, you're definitely going a little bit into this direction. But then you have also these epic doom moments and progressive metal riffs. So it's kind of a weird hybrid. It's not really proper like epic doom, like thinking of Candlemass or Sorcerer from Sweden. Not like that. Then again, it's not really like proper black metal either, but more like flirting with that stuff, like adding raspy vocals, certain riffs and all that stuff. And yeah, lots of progressive parts where like, okay, so you want to go 3 different directions at once. That's not gonna work for a lot of people. But those with more acquired taste will like, hey, well, I'm gonna appreciate your stuff because it's unique. It's one of a kind. It's not like anything else. Even in terms of Irish metal, I mean, you have Primordial and the like. This is gonna sound different. It's not like folky as you might think, but combining epic doom with black metal already is something like, yeah, that's not your typical thing to do. And as such, I would say this is a hard cookie to crack. Some people will like it just because it's different and doesn't really sound like anything else. But some people will be, yeah, it's too much. It's like either too much doom or too much the pagan black metal thing going on. Not really, catering to both needs unless you really, really love both at the same time. And then those progressive stuff. So, weird one, but I like certain elements. I like that they're bringing their own, say, national or folky parts, something unique from their own heritage and background to the music in question. But it's also kind of a weird, and as such, it's not gonna work for everybody. But check out if you think that you wanna look for something different, might be your cup of tea. Now, all links provided for these bands in the description box. Go check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care.